Hello everyone, my name is Richmond and I welcome you to the Rich Tech channel. In our previous session, we spoke about the user interface of the Scratch Junior, where we picked the various features of the Scratch Junior and explained their functions as well. If you missed that tutorial, you can get the link in the description below and catch up with us. In today's tutorial, we'll be talking about the events palette and also the blocks under the events palette and their various functions, how they affect the sprites or the characters in the program. Alright, without wasting much time, we'll get into today's tutorial. But before that, if you're a new viewer, I would encourage you to subscribe to this channel and also turn on your notification bell in order to be the first to be notified whenever I release any new video of this kind. Also, if you learn any new thing, you can leave a like as well in order to encourage me to do more videos of this kind. So let's get into today's tutorial. I'm going to click on the home button as usual to take us to the projects page. In our previous session, we worked on project 1, where we used that project to explain the various user interface of the Scratch Junior software or application. So I'm going to double tap on that same project and continue with it in explaining the events palette as well. Alright, so once you double tap on it, the project will load for you nicely. And as you can see, we have multiple sprites or characters here. In this case, we are just going to delete this sprite to just maintain one here. And this backdrop, we also long press on it and then click on this cancel button to delete it as well. So at this point, we are left with the dog and also this stage alone, and we are going to use that to explain the various blocks under the events palette. All right, so I'm going to position my dog here at the start of the program. All right, so the first thing I'll be explaining once we've started with the coding is this section we have here. Okay, so we call this section the coding area, and that is where the code goes to. All right, we call this place the coding area, and as you can see, we have some two buttons here, which is the undo and then redo. Now, if you work on any program here and you make a mistake, you mistakenly do something and you want to undo it, you can click on this undo button here, and if you want to redo the code too, you can click on this redo here. All right, so this is the coding area, and if you look at the top left corner of the coding area, that is where you see the particular character you are programming at every point in time. So as you can see here, I have the shadow of the dog, which signifies that any code I put in here is going to go for the dog and not any other character. So supposing I have other characters, which I'm going to add one more character. So maybe I add this rabbit. Okay, so this rabbit will be here and I select this dog. So as you can see, the code is going to go for the dog alone and not the rabbit. If I want the code for the rabbit, I can also select the rabbit. As you can see, the rabbit is not selected. It's the dog that is selected in this case. So I will select the rabbit, and as you can see, the shadow here has changed to the rabbit, and therefore any code you write here as well will go for the rabbit alone. So let's take note of the particular characters we want to program at every point in time, and also make sure we select them in order to have our code working for those characters alone. Alright, so in this case, I want to program the dog. So I'm going to select the dog. As you can see, I've selected the dog right here. And let me put the rabbit somewhere here. Alright. Now, in this tutorial, we are only going to talk about the event palette, which is the yellow one here. And under the event palette, we have blocks like the start on green flag, we have the start on tap, we have the start on bump, we have the start on message, and also send message block. All right, so these are the blocks we have under the events so far as Scratch Junior is concerned. Right. We are going to pick these blocks one after the other and then explain how they work. But before we do that, what are events in general? Events are basically blocks that enables the Scratch to execute a particular program when those particular events are triggered. So when we talk of event, just think about states of the character. So in what state or in what situation do you want a character to execute a particular program? Is it when the character is tapped on? Is it when the character is bumped into by another character? Is it when the green flag is clicked? Is it when the character receives a specific message? So those are the questions you need to ask yourself whenever you are talking about the event, or you want to use a specific event to trigger some blocks to be executed. So maybe you want a character to move right within some distance. But in what state or what situation do you want the character to execute that program? That is when you need to think about the event. So we are going to start by picking the first event, and because we are going to use the events to trigger a block, I want us to move into the motion palette here and then pick this block. Okay, this is the move right block. As you can see, move right here. So this block is basically going to let the character move right. So as I click on it, you can see the character is moving right. Okay, and the value over here would determine how far or the distance you want the character to cover. So the greater the number, the more distance the character would cover. All right, so I'm going to reset the character back to its original position by clicking on this reset button here. I think in our previous session, I spoke about the reset button. If you run any program and the program has changed the default position, I mean where you position the character, and you want to position it back there, you just click on this button and then it will send the character back to that position. With that said, let's get into the events. So the first event we'll be talking about is the start on green flag, which is this one. So I'm going to drag and drop it to the space here, or the coding area. Please note, once again, we are programming the dog, so you should see the dog's shadow at this part of your screen. Depending on the character you are programming, you should see its shadow at the top left corner of the coding area or the coding space. So I want the dog to move right to cover distance 10. So the value is 10. Okay, it has no unit. For the Scratch Junior, it has no unit. So I'm just going to move 10. But all what you need to know is that the greater the value here, the greater the distance covered, right? So if 10 covers a specific distance, 20 will cover twice that distance, and then 30 will cover thrice that distance. Okay, so you just need to know that as you increase the value here, the distance also increases. In other words, the distance the character is going to cover. So I want the character to move right to cover the distance 10 whenever I click on the green flag. So as you can see, I'm using the start on green flag event. So this particular code, which is the move right 10, is only going to be executed when this green flag is being clicked. Okay, so that is what this means. Okay, so I'm going to click on the green flag and we are going to see the effect. So let me move this rabbit here a bit, and if I click on the green flag, which I'm going to do now, you will see the character moving right to cover the distance. So let me click on it now. All right, as you can see, the character has executed this program because the event, which was to start on green flag, was met. Now, once I have executed it and I want to reset it to its original position, as usual, you can just click on the reset button rather than moving the character to that position yourself. Sometimes you want it to be at a specific point, and if you do that manually, you wouldn't get the actual position you want it to stay on. Okay, so it's better to use this one to just reset it, and it will just move it back to its position where it started, and that will be way easier for you. So we've explained the start on green flag, right, by executing the move right block. So we are going to execute the move right block with the next event block. So once we are done, I'm just going to delete this event by dragging and dropping it here, and it gets deleted. So I'll go and bring the next event block, which is the start on tap. So this event is going to trigger any block connected to it whenever you tap on the character, because that is what the event is saying. This time round, it's not start on green flag, but rather start on tap. So as you can see, the icon on the block is showing that only when you click on the character, that is when the blocks connected to that particular event would be executed. So let me try by clicking on the green flag, and if I do that, the code is not going to be executed. In other words, the character is not going to execute the move right, because that is not the event that we are using. Okay, so if I click on this green flag right now, I can click on it. As you can see, I'm clicking on it. You can click on it several times, nothing is going to work, because that is not the event we've given to it. All right. So if I tap on the character rather, that is when it's going to execute it. So if I tap on it this way, as you can see, it is moving, right? It has executed the move right, because the tap condition or the tap event has been triggered, and therefore any block connected to it would get a chance to be executed. So once I'm done, I'll just reset it. Now, the next block we have is the start on bump. So start on bump, I'm going to pick that one and I'll explain it as well. So with the start on bump, with that one too, when I click on the green flag, the character is not going to execute the program. When I tap on the character with the mouse pointer as I'm tapping on it, it's not executing the program. It's only going to execute the program when the character is bumped into by another character. So for instance, if I drag and tap or make contact with the dog with this particular rabbit you see here, that is when the dog would execute this program. Now, don't expect the rabbit to rather move when I touch it with the dog, because it's not the rabbit we are programming. As you can see here, the code we have is only for the dog. And if I move to the rabbit, we have no code here. So the rabbit is not going to do anything. We've not given it any instruction. We are just using it as a reference to show you how this start on bump works. Okay, so I'm going to move the rabbit and touch it with the dog, and immediately I touch the dog with the rabbit, the code connected to the start on bump block for the dog is going to be executed, which is the move right for 10. Okay, so I'm going to do it now, and as you can see, the dog just moved right. Executed the program, move right 10. All right, so I'm going to reset it and try it one last time for you to see the effect. All right. So once I'm done with it, we are done with the start on bump as well. So that is how the event start on bump works. Okay, we are going to move on to the last event, which is the start on message. Now, it's a message that the character needs to receive in order to what? Execute the program connected to it. So in this case, it starts on what? Orange message. As you can see, the color of this message is orange. We have other colors here. If you click on the drop down arrow here, you see other colors. We have the orange, red, we have the yellow, we have the green, we have the blue, we have the purple. So depending on the color of message you want the character to receive in order to execute a particular program, you select that color. All right, so in this case, I'm going to select red. All right, now the block here is to enable the character execute this block. Any block connected to it when the red message is received, right? When the red message is received, and before any message at all can be received, there should be a send block to send a message, and this is the send block here. So send message block, and this is the block that is going to send the message. So before any message at all can be received, it should be sent first. All right, so I'm going to use this. I'm going to bring it here, and as you can see, this is a stack block and therefore needs a heart block in order to be executed. So this one needs another event to trigger it in order to send the message. Please, I hope you are getting it. So if supposing I bring this event here, which is start on green flag, I can connect it to this. And this means that whenever I click on the green flag, it should send this message. And what color is it? It's orange. So it should send the orange message whenever I click on the green flag. When I remove the green flag from there and then click use the start on tab, that means it should send a message whenever I tap on the character, right? Again, if I remove this one and then I bring the start on bump, what it means is that it should only send the message when the character is bumped into by another character. I can also bring um, the send start on message block, and this one also means that it should only send this message when another message is being sent. Okay, but for practical purposes, I'm going to use the start on green flag to explain this. Okay, so any event actor can be used to send a message. Okay, so I'm going to send a message when the green flag is clicked. Right, so when the green flag is clicked, it's going to send an orange message, and this block is going to receive the message. So once the message is received, it's going to check if the color of the message received is equal to the color that is supposed to be received. If it is equal to, then it will execute any block connected to it, which is the move right in this case. So if I click on the green flag here, the character is not going to move right because the message sent is not equal to the message that is going to be received. So if I click on the green flag, nothing is happening. The character is not moving right because the message sent is not equal to the message received. In other words, the color of the message sent is not equal to the color of the message received. So let me change it to match the color. Now, once I change it to match the color, if I click on the green flag, it's going to send a red message, and the red message is going to be received by this block, which is going to trigger that event to execute the block move right. I hope this is understandable. So if I click on this green flag, the character is going to move forward 10 because the message that is going to be sent is going to be the same as the message to be received in the events here, and that is going to trigger the move right block. So let me click on it, and the character moves right, and that is the explanation for the start on message. I hope this is clear. If you have any question, you can put it in the comment section and then I'll attend to you as soon as possible. So this is the end of today's tutorial. In the next tutorial, we are going to talk about all the blocks in the motions palette. Now, in this tutorial, we just picked one, which is the move right, to explain the events. Okay. In the next tutorial, we're going to talk about all the blocks here, which is the move left, move up, move down, turn right, turn left, hop, and then go home block. All right. At this point, without wasting much time, we are going to end today's tutorial. And if you have any question, don't hesitate to put it in the comment section, and then I would attend to you as soon as possible. With that said, bye for now.